Welcome to the world of stand-up. Bro, what's up? It's your boy, Bryce Prescott. This is another episode of Stand-Up. It's been a minute. It has been a minute. Last episode I produced was the one with Jen Coles, where we talked about holotropic breath work and get your breath work on. And I just, full disclosure, life and business got in the way. That's why I stopped producing this. I've joked that in my business, I own a company called Media Automated, and we specialize in podcast creation and production. And I've been doing a lot more work with individuals, coaching them through how to become an authority in their space and learning how to be a better storyteller, et cetera. And basically, the metaphor is that I have become I'm like the landscape expert guy with the shitty yard at home, you know? Like I haven't been paying attention to my own podcasts, which I've got a few of them. I have a business one called Media Automated, which I stopped at 11 episodes because, like I said, landscaper, shitty yard. Also, I've got another one called Alignment. I've had one called Delusional. I had one called Rebellion. Dude, I've used myself as the guinea pig when it comes to podcasting to kind of figure some things out. And the unfortunate part is it's really affected my consistency because I haven't been consistent. I've been pouring into my clients and then doing my stand-up and everything. So, but I had this breakthrough. I had this thought, and I wanted to share it with you in hopes that it might actually make a difference. Because what I'm going to be doing here on this episode and on these podcasts going forward, I'll still have interviews and bring people on, of course. But on these solo ones, I just want to kind of blend it all together. I've realized that it doesn't do me any good to try to act like I'm not multifaceted. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business owner. I'm all about trying to figure out how to make the best service and product out there, to market it the best, to bring in revenue and provide opportunity for me and my team. That's where I'm at. I'm also a stand-up comedian, a headlining stand-up comedian, and the whole process of stand-up and everything and making money and becoming a professional is one track, but it doesn't actually negate or even interfere in a way with my business. Additionally, I'm a person that cares about making the best out of things and learning how my mind actually works, learning how to create better results for myself, whatever that means, whether I'm using my mind or mindset or whether I'm executing at a high level when it comes to my actions or whatever it is. All of those things encompass who I am. And I've been trying to compartmentalize them with my media and what I put out there with my content, and it just doesn't work. I need to do all of them at the same time. I'm actually a hilarious, joke-telling business owner that cares about making the most out of myself and others. So if you're dealing with that, if you're trying to figure out, what part of me do I show in my content? The answer is yes, all of it. Show you, every aspect. You're a psycho that's a super sports fan, show that. You're a stand-up comic as well, show that. Show it all. Show everything. And so the irony is that I started this podcast with that commitment, but I kind of got lost in it a little bit because I was having, you go look back at my episodes. I've had some comedians. I had a really great episode with Rodney Norman, which if you haven't watched that one, it's super funny. I had Jen Coles with breath work. I've had, Garrett Gunderson was my first episode back, and it's talking about his comedy career and then also money. So there's a lot of stuff on here that I just trying to pigeonhole this as a comedy podcast doesn't work, and so I'm tired of doing it. So what does that mean? It means we're back. I don't like being the landscaper that's got the shitty yard. So let's make this great. I appreciate all of the listens that you guys do. If you enjoy this podcast, share it on your socials, tag me in it. Let me know if you want to come to one of my shows. Let me know. We'll figure that out. I want you to buy tickets. I want you to have access to me, my comedy, my business acumen, me. And so we're going to talk about that here. There's been a couple notables that I want to talk about that have been fun on this podcast. Basically, so first of all, I'll be releasing this podcast right after Halloween. Last night was Halloween. And the older that I get, the less I understand Halloween. This concept that we're just going to go door to door asking for people's candy, and if they don't give us a candy, they're going to give us a trick. Like my dirty ass mind knows that what a hooker does is called a trick. So if I'm going to get tricks or treats at somebody's door, depending on who it is, that's a choice that might be hard to make. You know what I mean? But this whole concept of the demon thing and the Dia de los Muertos and all, I don't get it. It's like an excuse to be a slut. I firmly believe that, a couple months ago was Burning Man. Burning Man does a little bit of the same thing. It's just like all the tits are out. But I think that, Burning Man is for people that don't think that Halloween is slutty enough. So they can do their thing in the naked desert, tripping on acid and all that shit where, with Halloween, they're just tripping on, sugar, refined sugar, as opposed to that. And still, tits are out. But in a lot of places, it's too cold. So you get an automatic nip show. So, but yeah, anyway, Halloween was yesterday. It's been an interesting time because I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I don't get at all this new crop of teenagers. They are a different level of apathy. And maybe they're not. Maybe I was that much of an asshole when I was, 14, but I don't think I was. I think that I don't get it, man. Glued to their phones. Like my daughter has friends all over the world that she's never met that's super just digital. I don't know if it's a guy named Carl that's 46 that's actually trying something weird. I've tried to be involved as much as I can to figure out who these people are that she's talking to, and it's almost impossible. When I was a kid, you looked everybody in the face that you knew that was your friend. Totally different vibe now. I mean, if I want to threaten my daughter, I just have to tell her I'm going to change the Amazon password and turn off Wi-Fi. Because, oh my God, I'd be like solitary confinement for her. But she didn't want to dress up. She wanted nothing to do with Halloween, which is so odd to me. When I was a kid, we'd get the pillowcases, we'd go rally. I mean, it was capitalism at its best. You're going to give away free candy, I'm going to get your free candy. And I used to. I'd go ham, dude. That candy would last months. Now, my daughter, dude, didn't care. Not a bit. But, yeah, it was kind of an interesting thing because the trick-or-treaters will come every time the doorbell rings. The dogs go nuts. I'm sitting here trying to watch a World Series game because Major League Baseball is going on right now, and I get triggered every time I watch baseball because it's the only professional sport where you can be a legitimate fat ass and be the best in the world at it. It's the only sport where you could see a fat guy in a grocery store and he could be a Hall of Famer and you would never know. There's no differentiating between high-level excellence when it comes to baseball because you can go watch baseball. They're all fat. There's a reason why it's America's pastime is because America is just a bunch of fat asses, and our favorite sport is baseball. And the irony is that the people that are actually great that you see on the highlights and think they're fit. They're not fatties. But all pitchers are fatties. First basemen are fatties. Outfielder usually are a little thick. And it just scratches. It scratches at this part of me that it is so annoyed. It's like, you fucking fat asses, get your shit together. Take your talent and imagine it in an actual elite body instead of this 40% body fat one that you've got, you monster. Like, how do you have confidence as a rich, successful baseball player when you're a fat ass picking up chicks? You're just going to Jabba the Hutt yourself into that bar and be like, hey, ladies, look, come over here. I was a pitcher for the Kansas City Royals. Like, who gives a shit? You look gross. But then I guess it just goes to prove that, chicks want money first. And maybe that's kind of the ploy of this whole thing of, women like Dadbods now. No, they just want an excuse to make that fat-ass pitcher that they're going to get all the money from think that he's actually desirable. Because when you're 320 pounds and you throw a ball around and you're a professional athlete and one of the best in the world at your sport. Yeah. Anyway. It's an exciting week coming up for me. I've got on November 10th and 11th, I am headlining again up in Ogden at the Wise Guys Comedy there. I haven't ever even performed in the Ogden Club, let alone headlined. And so I'm pretty stoked about what it means. You're going to be able to hear this episode in time. If you hear this before my shows and you're in the Ogden, Layton, Bountiful, kind of northern Salt Lake area, it's a super quick jaunt up there. Come up and see my shows. Let's have a laugh. I got some new stuff I'm working on that would be really funny for you. I would love to have you there. The whole process of headlining and preparing is different for everybody. I am more of a storyteller type comic, and so I have to basically, when I look at my notes and when I do run-throughs and things, it's basically just like I look for the connective tissue between the bits, and I'm really proud of this set that I'm going to be doing here in 2 weeks up in Ogden. It's going to be a good time. So if you're in town, if you want to do that, come up. I'll put a link on my Instagram so that you can go buy tickets. It's just at wiseguyscomedy.com. Go search Bryce Prescott up at the Ogden Club and you'll see it. But it's kind of a big deal for me because I just barely headlined a couple months ago. I was able to headline downtown at the Salt Lake location. They opened up their new Rickles room, and I was one of the first guys in there, 10 dudes to headline in that room. And it was a fun room. It was a cool room. It was a great show. I had Greg Olson host the show, super funny guy. Had my buddy General Grant open. Matt Tribe, another buddy of mine, was another opener. And then I was there, and it was there's this thing that happens when I'm headlining. And I just kind of settle into this thing, and the energy of it's fun. And it's unlike anything else that you've ever done because the buildup is stressful, the prep work is stressful, there's all this pressure that you don't know how to handle because you want to make sure you're funny, and little things can fuck up your bits. You know, the economy of words is really important. You got to make sure you say as little as possible while saying as much as possible. You've got to be as funny as possible in the middle of that while still making sure that you're explaining things in a way and telling the full story. It's really an exercise in storytelling, if I'm honest. And it's pretty great. But I had this funny experience when I was headlining because there was this girl that showed up there, and she was kind of chubby, and she was dressed inappropriate with like this garter, or not a garter, but like what do they call that thing? A corset, whatever, just like her fucking tits are pouring out the top. And she's not fit, and she's not attractive. And she's looking at that, and I was shaking hands and glad handing after thing, and she was talking with her friend about some boudoir shoot, and it triggered me as well because I'm like, oh, dude, there's a whole like thing with chicks doing boudoir shoots now, single chicks, like they're trying to get their sexy back or whatever. And it just begs the question, like, do hot girls actually do boudoir shoots anymore, or is it just the ugly ones that are doing that? Because what I'm seeing, if you go even to the hashtag boudoir on Instagram, it's not our best and brightest. You know what I mean? It's these ladies need some help. Sometimes it's totally fine to feel shame in your body. Let's be honest. Sometimes it's better to cover it up, okay? Sometimes the freedom is in the cover-up, not in the removing of clothing. Sometimes the freedom is that you recognize, hey, man, I got large pockets of sweat in each one of these folds. Maybe don't put on a G-string with a garter and have my tits hanging out, because maybe instead of like allowing the people to view this as attractive, they don't, okay? It's like Jeff Dye has that hilarious joke where he's like, all these chicks are like, they think Lizzo's the best and, go Lizzo, but then they get super mad when I say, you look just like Lizzo. I'm like, what the fuck? So, ladies, it's okay to feel shame. Clothes, sometimes the answer. Sometimes the solution to the problem is to cover up, okay? We don't do that shit, dude. I mean, unless you're Bert Kreischer, but most dudes, like, we're fine to, we get it. The dad bod, you don't need to wear the tight shirt. You don't need the deep V with your fucking belt hanging over your gut or your gut hanging over your belt. Why is it the men don't do that? What would a men's boudoir shoot look like? Oh, well, I know it would look like. It would look like that scene from Seinfeld where George Costanza is on that couch in his underwear and he's doing the stretch. That's the equivalent of what I'm seeing nowadays with all these ugly chicks doing boudoir shoots. Ladies, I need you to know something. I care about you and your feelings. But I'm not going to be in this delusional space where we go, oh, that's so beautiful. Because it's not. Ah. Yeah. Anyway. Maybe I should talk about something that's actually redeeming. Actually redemptive. We could try that. Or maybe I could just keep talking about this. I was at a bar the other night, and the stupidest question ever was asked of me at this bar. I wasn't drinking that night. I was driving, and I go up and I go, hey, man, I need 2 waters. And this lady bartender says to me, coming right up, you want to keep this tab open? Because free waters are what I'm going to use as an excuse to put my credit card on tab at a bar And I just looked at her and took my waters and left. Because, no. Close it. You know what I mean? It's like that bartender must have just been smelling her own farts or something. She's like, yeah. Yeah. You want to keep it open? No, I don't. That's my new favorite way of saying that you're just over the top in love with yourself and everything that you do, is that you smell your own farts. There's that South Park episode where the Brovlowskis get a hybrid, they get a Prius, and it just morphs Kyle's dad into this, okay, see, like, and they get just, they just totally smell their own farts because they're so high on their pretentiousness about being better than everybody else because they care for the environment and other people do. It's one of the very first, like, true, legit virtue signaling episodes on South Park. And it's hilarious. But I'm watching this and I'm like, dude, that's the best. People smell their own farts. That's how you tell. That's how you describe people that are high on their stuff. Their shit don't stink. Their farts, amazing smells to them. It's the best, dude. It is the best. But, so a meaningful message. How could I turn that into a meaningful message? Here's the thing. Okay, so let's talk about something redemptive. Let's talk about something good. Let's talk about what you do with your social media, okay? I am a branding guy. Media Automated does all this stuff. We help build authority for people. So how is it then that you can be better about this and understand what it is? Like, I have this pet peeve. Every major influencer out there tells you to share your story, says to get on social media and share parts of your life. They don't tell you to figure out how to share it in a compelling way. They don't tell you how to share it in a way that people would actually want to watch or listen. They just say, get on there and bumble towards, you'll get the reps, you'll figure it out. Not realizing that the human condition is one that needs motivation and continual reinforcement to continue doing hard things. Now, the gap of what's required or what's needed for somebody to actually be able to get that sort of motivation and encouragement is different every person. But every human at some point needs to know that what they're doing matters or has made a difference. So people are just being told to share their story, not doing it in a way that's compelling or a way that matters or that's fun or funny. They just get on there and they cry about shit. They overshare. They don't get it. And to me, that's the equivalent of smelling your own farts, because you're sitting there going like, hey, I'm so self-important that everything that I do, regardless of whether or not I'm doing it in an interesting or entertaining way, if I'm doing it in a way that you would even want to see or hear, it doesn't matter. My shit's awesome. You should watch this anyway. And then when people don't, they get butt wet about it. Social media is hard. The algorithm hates me. No, bro, you're just smelling your own farts, man. You don't give a shit. Like, I want you to consider this example, right? Consider a singer and the microphone. A microphone it's just an amplifier. So if you're a shitty singer and you sing into a microphone, guess what you're going to have? A louder, shitty voice. It's the same thing for social media. Social media is a magnifier. So if you put shit into social media, what you'll get is an amplified shit. You won't get it turning into something. It's not like social media turns your dog shit content into something interesting. You have to put something interesting out there, and then social media will put it in front of people for them to agree with you that it's interesting, and that's when you get shares and engagements and comments and things like that. But we forget that because every influencer tells you to share your story on social media, and then everybody does, and then they get bugged that it doesn't work and nobody cares. But I don't want you to have to deal with that. Like, I'm not cool with that. And a part of my business and a part of my kind of just commitment personally is that if you have the balls to put stuff out there, why not put it out there in a way that actually matters, that is actually entertaining, that is actually impactful? And if you don't know what that means, that's where you get to start, because there's two ways for you to figure out that part. 2 ways to know whether stuff works or doesn't. You can start researching yourself. I would recommend going to YouTube and how to tell a good story. What is a story gap? Look at the different frameworks of what it means to tell a story. Use what, why, lesson, apply. Use Donald Miller's story brand format. Like, be in a position to understand how to take your ideas and what you say and what's interesting in a way that makes it interesting to other people. Or hire somebody. Come to somebody like me and be like, dude, I need help with this. How do I do it? And then I will help you. Because truthfully, I want you to be rewarded for the vulnerability and effort that it takes for you to share stuff. I like it when people start podcasts. And part of what I do to help teach people on podcasts is how to be better as a speaker, how to tell a better message. Because the truth is that you have our society has gone to a weird place. We don't have an attention span anymore. So you've actually got to lean more on the psychology and emotion of people to get them to keep listening and keep viewing your stuff way more than ever before. I read a statistic that says on social media, like on Instagram or Snapchat or any of these, you have 7 seconds or less to capture people's attention. And that's because we live in this world of tweets. Everything's tiny, micro content, little things there. Some of the biggest content that I've seen blow up is like 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds with a loop and music and some stuff written on the screen. It's like, what does that say about us, man? That's what we elevate? So anyway, I want you to be better. And so I want you to understand, stop smelling your farts. Look at social media like a magnifier. It amplifies what you already put into it. And so make sure you're being deliberate. I heard, here's a bit of advice that I want to share with you that I think is huge. Don't let your first draft be the video that you share. Don't let your first draft be the podcast episode that you produce. Don't let your first draft be the sales letter or the post that you share. Be more deliberate about how and what you share so that you can make sure that you are coming to the table with an articulate message, with a message that matters and that's easier received by the people that listen to it. It'll be a game changer for you if you apply it. So, yeah, stop smelling your own farts. I know it's tempting, friends. Just don't do it. Wow. I love this new sort of, I don't know. I've been looking at social media lately and been teaching people about this too. Like, if you show up to social media as a guide, like that's your energy, kind of this daddy energy, like I'm here to help you, bring you to where you need to be. It's way, way better and way more impactful than if you're showing up with a hero vibe, like you're trying to be the hero for them. Because people are really arrogant. They don't want battling heroes. They already think that they're the hero. So if you're doing posts and comments and things from that sort of frame, that vantage point, that you're the hero, I'm here to be your hero, it's a way bigger climb than if you're there to be the guide. And as a comic, for me, I love that because I'm already kind of just a commentator. I'm already a guide of sorts. Hey, look over here. This is funny. Nope, now look at this. Over here, it's funny. Great. This is meaningful. This is valuable. This is impactful. And then I can share my own journey as far as the things I've had to overcome and grow, but I don't do it from a frame of that I am the hero. I do it from this is what got me to where I've understood how to be your guide. I think it's pretty powerful. Additionally speaking, I enjoy when I see other people do it. I find myself being drawn in and attracted to that type of message, that type of content, those type of podcasts, where I feel better for it, even when they're funny ones. If a comedian or a group of comedians that are on a podcast, if they have a type of conversation that has me feeling entertained and uplifted in any way, it's a win. And it just so happens that some of the biggest podcasts on the planet are exactly that. You look at Joe Rogan's podcast, huge. And it's like you're overhearing a conversation that has valuable information that helps you be better, even though it's really funny a lot of the times. Anyway, something to consider. Friends, I'm going to wrap up this solo episode here, but I appreciate you. Thanks for the hiatus. I hope that this podcast finds you well and that you're in a position where you're happy and healthy and everything. And if you want to reach out to me, you want to come to one of my shows, whatever, just go to bryceprescottcomedy.com. That's where everything is. You can go to my website, which is mediaautomated.com for my business. Frankly, if you just follow me at Instagram, at Bryce Prescott, you get all that anyway. And so from there, I think it's time to shut this down. So, my friends, I used to say this all the time. I'll start saying it again. Until next time, take it a day at a time. I'll see you.